The next award, the BaylorIC TV Awards for boxing, is going to be for Fight of the Year. Now, there are lots of fights of the year you could say. You could say Carl Froch versus George Groves 2. You could put up there Maidana versus Mayweather. You could put up there Molina versus Lucas Matisse. Wow, that was a fight. But see, Maidana versus Mayweather, the rematch had a lot of hype to it for the second fight. But I knew from the first fight that I thought Mayweather had too much boxing ability for Maidana. Made it hard work the first fight. Second fight round, I thought he'd fight the first fight the same way. He made the adjustments and showed he was a class above. George Groves, Carl Froch, we saw the stoppage in the first fight, and I believe that Froch would have come from behind the first fight to stop Groves, because I don't believe in Groves' stamina, and in the second fight he finished the job off. So anticipated, yes. Cleverly versus Bellew, the hype was a lot, failed to deliver. But the fight of the year, for me, I'm going to call Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders, because it had a bit of everything. You had the needle between the two fighters. You had history when Nigel Benn fought Chris Eubank. You had the enigmatic, the character of Chris Eubank Sr. telling us that Chris Eubank Jr. had sparred with George Groves and Carl Froch and James DeGale. You'd heard the rumours about how good Chris Eubank Jr. was. Nobody really knew how good Chris Eubank Jr. was. You'd seen the videotapes or the videos of Chris Eubank in America working with Floyd Mayweather Sr. You've seen all the hand speed and the work on the pads. We knew Billy Joe Saunders had won the British, the Commonwealth, the European Championship. This wasn't a fight against two bums. This was a guy to fight against two good fighters, two unbeaten fighters, two fighters that we still didn't know how good they really are. We kind of know now after the result how good Chris Eubank is, but because Billy Joe Saunders beat him, we really don't know how good Billy Joe Saunders is. If he goes on to beat Andy Lee, then who knows how good Billy Joe Saunders actually is. But you also had the crossover element. You had the fact that, you know, the fight drew interest from people outside of the UK. It had an American appeal to it. And of course, like I said, people saw the first fight of Froch and Groves. This fight had people saying 50-50. They wasn't sure. There were belts on the line. This was also a fight where you had a young fighter in Chris Eubank Jr. who had fought nobody of note, stepping up to fight and could have become a European champion overnight. You had all the hype beforehand. You had the statement that Eubank Jr. would beat GGG. So there was lots and lots of hype for this fight. And to top it off, that fight was bigger than the proven talent of Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora. A middleweight fight was bigger than a heavyweight fight. Nobody really cared in the States. No disrespect to Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora here. Nobody in the States really cared about that fight. They were more interested in Chris Eubank Jr. So, and of course, the whole Eubank enigma and how Chris Eubank was, the dynamics between Chris Eubank and Frank Warren. And let me just put this to you as well. Could you imagine if Chris Eubank Jr. had attended the press conference from the start, how much more build-up that fight could have had? So, And then we had the fight itself. The first 5 rounds of the fight, Billy Joe Saunders won. And I think that's because simply Chris Eubank had never done the 12 rounds. And this was an opportunity for him to say, you know what, I'm not sure if I can do 12 rounds, but I know I can definitely do 6 rounds. And I know I could possibly do 8 rounds. I can't do 12. So let me not extend myself here. And so you saw from round 5 onwards, Eubank Jr. really put it down and going for Saunders. You saw Saunders having to take a lot of good shots. You saw Eubank Jr. also looking very vulnerable. The question marks will be, had he listened to Ronnie Davis in the corner rather than listen to Chris Eubank, who is not a trainer, and nobody knows what quite he was doing in that corner. Had he listened to Ronnie Davis, could it have been a different outcome? The other question is, Chris Eubank Jr. turned around and telling his trainer, when his trainer said, you get out there and stop him, Eubank Jr. turned around to his trainer and telling his trainer, stop talking. That's what his trainer is meant to do. Are we seeing the shortcomings of a fighter who has a lot of talent and the influence of Chris Eubank Sr. in the corner? You've seen already that Eubank Sr. was never good going forward. He was never a good come forward fighter. He was always a good counter boxer, and he always looked sloppy when he used to fall over his punches when he threw punches going forward. And if you look at his son, the son has picked up the bad habits as well. And disrespecting a trainer in the corner, I'm sorry, I don't care how good a fighter you are, that's just not on. So again, the fight's had everything to it. Yes, I'd definitely watch a rematch. So no matter how big Mayweather Maidana was for the rematch, you kind of knew how the fight was going to pan out. And kind of when Mayweather got into gear, I mean, if you're going to think about the fight, what's the most significant thing that happened in the fight? It was that one round where Maidana threw a punch. I think it was the 3rd round, and may have knocked Mayweather's tooth out. Otherwise, it was a boxing clinic for Floyd Mayweather. But this fight was back and forth. After round 5, you didn't quite know who was going to win the fight, because you always thought, you know, if Eubank can just land one big shot, he might stop Saunders. Saunders may tire down the stretch. It was a good fight in the end, and a fight I've gone back and watched again. So for me, the fight of the year goes to Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders. And I said it had everything. Hype, good quality fight, dynamics between promoters, promoter, manager, dynamics in the fight itself, the international appeal. It had everyone talking, and nobody quite knew how the fight would turn out. So that's it. Congratulations to Chris Eubank Jr. and Billy Joe Saunders. I'm sure Billy Joe Saunders want to take the award himself. Yeah. And of course, another reason why I thought this was a good fight was because both guys put it on the line. Billy Joe Saunders did not have to take this fight. There was a lot more for him to lose than for him to gain. Had he lost this fight, where would his career be today? All that hard work gone down the drain in one fight. So, yeah. Billy Joe Saunders versus Chris Eubank Jr. Fight of the year. Let me know what you guys think, and girls, I'm out. Thanks for watching.